Welcome back to Everyday Jesus. My name is Derek. Thank you for being here. One of the hopes for this channel is that sometimes instead of teaching out of scripture or things like that, I would just have a chance to share with you what it's like for me following Jesus, just things that I go through and things like that. Hopefully to encourage you. But today's one of those days. A few episodes ago, I talked about disappointment. Man, today we hit a huge wall of disappointment. So it's been a real mix of a day. There's been some setback. I've talked a little bit how our family is preparing for a pretty big change, and today we got some news that could really throw years of preparation and hope and dreams and work just out the window. But there's an appeals process, and there's some things that we can do to help. But it was just a really big blow today. And it reminded me of a couple of things. Jesus, there's one story, I think it's in John, where Jesus is hanging out with his disciples, and somebody comes to him and tells him that a man named Lazarus, a dear friend of his, is sick. And Jesus kind of waits a little bit. The disciples are like, hey, we should go so you can heal him. But they know that Jesus can heal, and he doesn't. He stays. And eventually he's talking to them, and then he just tells them, Lazarus is dead. And so they're crushed by this. They think their dear friend that Jesus could have healed is now dead, so it's over. And even when he shows up to his home, he meets his two sisters, and they were telling him, like, if he had been here, he wouldn't have died. They believed that he could do that Jesus could heal him. They believed that he could make smooth that bump, that mountain. But then eventually it was over and too late. But Jesus says to them, this has been done so that the power of God would be revealed to you. And I think sometimes he lets us go through some disappointment where we think, oh, Jesus, you could have done this. He could have easily made our news today be good news. But sometimes I think he waits and says, I'm going to let you get some bad news, so that in a deeper way, the power of God would be revealed to you. And then eventually in the story of Lazarus, he raises him from the dead, and it's an amazing, shocking thing that just sends shockwaves throughout the whole region. And I think sometimes he does that for us, even if it's not in such big and dramatic ways. So we're holding on to that hope. Maybe there's something deeper that the Lord wants to reveal. In some ways, it's just the work that he's done in me and in my character. In general, I've been kind of a quitter. If things get hard, if I face resistance, then I'll back off and not go there and kind of try something else or give up pretty easily. But these past few years have been a real training ground for me in that. It's been amazing to see the Lord do a work in me where he's just teaching me to not give up, to persevere, and to trust him even beyond what looks rational or reasonable in the outside world. And so that's still my hope, that he would come through, that he would raise something from the dead that seems dead. But I still have that hope. For me right now, following Jesus means continuing to persevere, even when it seems like hope is lost or it's really shaken. And there's another point where Jesus is talking to Simon Peter, and he says, Simon, Satan has asked to sift you like wheat, but I have prayed that your faith would not fail. And he says, then after you've returned, go and help your brothers. Jesus doesn't always keep us from trials. He doesn't always keep us from temptation. He doesn't always keep us from frustration and setbacks. But he wants something from us through those times. It's those times that he builds our faith, and that he prays that our faith would not fail. And so I'm praying for myself today. And if you are a praying person, I ask that you would pray for me today, that my faith would not fail. And I pray that for you. If there are things that you're going through right now where you seem like you've hit a roadblock or a dead end or a brick wall, and there's no more going forward and you don't know what you're doing, I want to pray for you that your faith would not fail. And maybe there's a greater miracle, a greater work that Jesus wants to do through this setback that could only come through a setback, through a feeling that it's over. So man, that's where I'm at today. And I hope that wherever you are, you're pressing in to Jesus right now. Because in good days and in bad days, he is our only life, our only source of life and joy. It's amazing that I can have joy in this time, and that's only because of Jesus. And trust that no matter what comes, I'm in his hand. No matter what comes, Jesus says, I will be with you. And I trust that no matter what the coming days and months hold, Jesus is with me. And it's only with him that we can have that kind of assurance, that kind of peace that doesn't depend on my circumstances or things going well. So that's why I want Jesus for you. I want that kind of joy and that kind of peace and that kind of full life for you in Jesus. And Jesus wants that for you too, if you'll follow him, if you'll lay down your life for him, whether for the first time or again. I bless you with that. I'll see you tomorrow.